Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and welcome to the new card report. The video I have to make 3 of this week, because can you even imagine like a 1-hour update of me just reading cards? I'd lose my voice and my mind. But now with 3 separate videos, that doesn't have to happen. Duelist Nexus continues to see spoilers for its set, and following Synchron as well as Dinosaurs, the next wave of support is for Infernoble Knight. Yes, debuting 3 years ago in the Series 11 debut pack, Rise of the Duelist, the Series 12 debut pack will give them their second ever wave of support. And I can't wait for 2026 when we get Wave 3! Starting off, we've got Infernoble Knight and Richardo? You know what? I know that the name is different than what I have written here. I'm gonna call it Richard because, no, wait, I'm going to call it Dick because that is a penis joke. Either way, this level 1 tuner has 500 attack and no defense, and 2 effects with hard once per turns on each. The first lets it banish itself from the hand or graveyard to summon a level 4 or lower fire warrior from your hand and treat it as a tuner. Nice. The second activates on summon, normal or special, to target and summon a level 4 or lower fire warrior from your grave, but will lock you into only summoning warrior monsters for the turn. What's crazy is that the first effect is solid, and the second effect is also solid. That's pretty rare for the level 1 Noble Knights. I think it's just Renowned that's otherwise in this spot. Now, if only its name wasn't Dick. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If only it wasn't French is the real joke here. Infernoble Knight Turpin is a goofy-ass name for this level 4 warrior with 1400 attack and 1700 defense, but he does have 2 flaming blades, so I'm not going to say that to his face, just behind his back and then publish it online. Figure that out. It's got 3 effects and they're pretty decent. The first will let you summon it from your hand or grave if you control an equip spell equipped to a monster, but if it's summoned this way it will banish itself when it leaves the field. It can also equip itself from the grave to a warrior monster you control, and both of these effects have a hard once per turn. As for what it does while it's an equip spell, it'll make the target able to be treated as a tuner when used for a synchro summon. The equip effect is fine. Tuner access is bueno, as we say, but the fact its extension is probably the main reason it's going to see play, from what I can imagine. And because you can say that you've got a Turpin tuner, I can't even say that right, because you've got a Turpin tuner, which sounds like it would deeply upset my German-speaking audience, or like you don't quite remember the name of the main character from Fairly Odd Parents. Possibly both. As always, my apologies goes to my German-speaking audience and viewers. You did absolutely nothing to deserve any of this, and yet it keeps happening. What does this say about me? Angelica, the princess surrounded by noble arms, is the name of this new level 5 synchro. And right now I will tell you that each and every time someone puts this card onto the field in front of me, I'm going to instinctively say, white woman spotted. She might not even properly be white. I might be entirely wrong about that, and I apologize if I am, but this is French lore as I understand it, and I'm a fucking idiot, and that's just a statement that's kind of funny to me, so it's probably going to happen. This is a public service announcement to not play this card against me because I will make a clown of myself, and that's your fault. Either way, this tuner here has 1200 attack and 2400 defense, and I'll bet you my entire channel that this is an extender. On special summon, not just synchro, it adds from deck to hand 1 card that mentions Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles or 1 Horn of Oliphant. Oliphant? Fucking French. It's a trap that will be more playable now by virtue of being searchable. Its second effect activates when it's targeted by any card effect to send a fire warrior from your deck to your graveyard, banish itself until the end phase, and then summon any Roland monster from your main or extra deck. Okay, just do all these plays and then bust out your standard level 5 synchro anyways. Granted, Synchro Roland needs to be synchro summoned to properly get its search and send, but this can send too, so that's worth noting. Plus it comes back. And with a level 5 tuner and a level 5 synchro, you know, you got Baron on them. Okay, we got some French shenanigans happening in this deck right now. Either way, believe me when I say that with this new search, it's going to be a staple for the other support I'll get to in a moment, at least in my uneducated opinion. Another insanely good lady for the deck of dudes just straight up posing. At least it follows the pattern. Up next is a new Link monster for the Infernoble Knight. Charlemagne is the name of this Link 1 with 3,000 attack. Just a bit strong. Why is this insanely strong for a Link 1? That's because the materials to summon are one Noble Knight Emperor Charles that has an equip spell attached to it. So you gotta get out your boss monster, equip it with something, and then link it off. Which isn't particularly hard to do in this deck, it's just you do have to do that. All for this new version of that same boss monster. What are the benefits for this? Well, if this guy's Link summoned, you can target an Emperor Charles in your grave. This card will become that card's original's name, and this effect that is currently activating will end up becoming the targeted monster's effects. After which, you can equip Charles to this as an equip spell to give it 500 attack, which will proc its effect / Charles's effect to pop a card. And as a bonus, on top of being Charles, it also has the effect to negate a spell or trap card or effect when activated by sending an equip spell from your field or hand to the grave. So you get the standard Charles effect plus a spell and trap negate just by making a Link 1 using your synchro. That is very, very interesting in terms of precedent for card design, using Link 1s to upgrade boss monsters. I wonder if we'll see that moving forward. I like it, and I think it's solid. There's not much else to say here, so how can I make it a joke? Well, I do think that the artwork's actually kind of goofy. A lot of people have said that they like this card, and I understand it, but don't try and tell me this doesn't look equally like he's just kind of stumbling forward with his sword as much as it is he's like charging and doing, like, this man's tripping, he's falling, he is stumbling, you know what I mean? It's like, play the transition, it's like, oh. That's just what he's doing, tell me I'm wrong. They also received a new equip spell, Infernoble Arms Almace. While it's equipped to a monster, you can equip a differently named Noble Arms equip spell from your deck to an appropriate monster you control, and then destroy this card. And if it's sent to the grave because the monster it was equipped to was sent to the grave itself, it can target a fire warrior from your banished pile or grave and add it to your hand. Both effects are hard once per turns, and it seems neat. It's the equip spell version of Durendo. Kinda. This only searches Noble Arms, but Durendal gets any fire warrior, which is often an Infernoble, but hey, it could be, you know, Fire Flint Lady or Red Layer or something. Also, why the fuck are there just ethereal beings in all the art of these cards? I know that's not new to this wave of support. I know that it's in all the other Infernoble equips we already have, and I get that they're in a museum and that it's a legend even within the lore of the Infernoble cards. But why are they astral projections just wandering around? Is there a deeper meaning to it, or did they just not care to draw actual people? I just want to know. Please, enlighten me so that I too can ascend into the omnipresent blue silhouette status that the Infernoble universe seems to just occupy for whatever reason. They've also received a new field spell, the Noble Arms Museum. Knowing the original Noble Knight field spell needed like 9 differently named knights to even be like playable, the bar for this card to be, you know, decent is quite possibly the lowest it could possibly be ever in any circumstance ever. This has 3 effects, including a 500 attack buff to all your fire warriors, which is nice, that's cute. Charlemagne will become 4,000 attack with its own effect, which will make it for one very thick Link 1, if you know what I mean. Some of you know what I mean far too well. It also lets you pay 1,200 life points to add any Noble Arms card from your deck to your hand, except for a copy of itself, and best of all, if you use that search effect, you get a bonus one, which will allow you to summon a Noble Knight monster from your spell and trap zone into a monster zone, but if you don't control Noble Knight Emperor Charles at the activation of this effect, you'll be locked into summoning warriors only for the rest of the turn. And look at that, it mentions Charles, which means Angelica searches this, and it searches any Noble Arms, which can search for the new Almace, which can search for Durendo, which can search for your entire fucking monster lineup, minus Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. So there's a decent amount of consistency here. And that's without even fully understanding this deck, as you can probably guess I don't know. I don't know. What the hell am I doing? I'm sure the plays get deeper when you actually have an understanding of what you're talking about. And better yet, there's more ethereal beings. Okay? Why? What the fuck, dude? Maybe ethereal's not the right word, but like, it feels right in my soul. You get it? Either way, we got a link one, we got a field spell, and the link one doesn't search the field spell. Card design is evolving. That's a reason to celebrate right there. Last up so far is a new trap card. Okay, this is epic. Literally, the card's name is the Epic Poem of Charles. Told you it's epic. A normal trap card, it can reveal a Noble Arms equipped spell in your hand to special summon an Infernoble monster from your hand or deck, and you can then choose to either equip it with the revealed equip spell, otherwise you send the equipped spell to the graveyard. It can also be banished from the grave to target an Emperor Charles you control and equip it with a Noble Knight monster from your hand or deck as an equip that will give it 500 attack. And when you look at that, mentions Charles right there. So weighted 2 is searchable off Angelica. Does that make it great? Not really. Doesn't make it bad for what that's worth. But ultimately, this is a trap card that will extend your plays for you, and you can't use it the turn in which you've searched it, so that's its biggest hindrance. Yes, you can quick effect equip Charles with something, which will proc a pop, which is technically a piece of disruption, but that will involve putting it into the graveyard, so all I'm saying is there's also another trap that can banish and equip to pop something that is also now searchable with this, which feels like a much less direct way of getting a pop and doesn't require a monster that can be removed as well. Just saying. I could be wrong, but this seems the least useful card of the lot from what I can gather. That said, the artwork apparently depicts one hell of an event, okay? We're talking about cards being designed in the Noble Knight universe here. So they're cards being designed within cards to put on cards and be played as cards within the cards that they're being played on as cards. Do you follow that? I don't even think I do. Figure that shit out and then get it tattooed on your arms. Because at that point, you're a savant. I don't know what I said. What is this art? What is this card? All in all, it's an interesting line of support. The Link 1, as mentioned, is a very neat spin on boss monsters and could be used to update even older and less playable ones for the current era. Or they'll never use this again and we'll all be left confused and somewhat let down. Who knows? Only Konami. I don't have a ton to say here. Infernoble can be much more playable with the support from what I can tell. Maybe not tippy-top tier, but better off than they were. And it's a way to make them playable that's not Smoke Grenade Turbo. So that's refreshing enough. Really though, there's no joke that I can make that's funnier than comparing this new Infernoble Knight support that we just got to the dinosaur support being released in the same goddamn set. These feel like they were planned for 2023 Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplay, whereas the dinosaurs feel like the most notable thing about them entirely is that I thought a visually clearly two-headed monster had 3 heads. That's the impact they've left on me, and probably you. If you're watching this, that's where dinosaur support's at. Sorry, Don Juan, it's just the way it worked out. Konami flips a coin, much like the Targaryens of Game of Thrones lore. Will the cards be good or will they be bad? Will they be insane or just stupid? And as it turns out, the dinosaurs are wah, and the Infernoble are going to be good. If I can be so bold, I think that this is the best support any deck has received thus far from Duelist Nexus. Now we just have to wait and see if any other support that we get in the set lives up to the bar of expectations that this now sets. Never-ending disappointment in Yu-Gi-Oh! That seems to be the way it goes. But you know what you don't have to wait to find out for? Me to cover the new card from the upcoming deck build pack, Wild Survivors. That's right, we have a new piece of support revealed for the Nouvelle. It's a spell card called Voici la carte. Here's the menu, which I believe translated fully into English reads, here's the menu, here's the menu. Cool. Maybe that's just what they say at like French restaurant. Maybe if you go to a French restaurant, they'll say like, voici la carte, here's the menu, qu'est-ce que c'est, tous les mots, puis j'allais à la toilette, or whatever it is French people say to you when you go to order food. I don't know. I just don't know. One thing I do know, the effect. This will let you reveal 2 Nouvelle monsters with different names in your deck, and your opponent will then pick one of them to add to your hand, while the other will be shuffled back into the deck. Then, if you added a warrior-type monster, you can grab a copy of Fish Recipe, one of their ritual spells, from either your deck or graveyard and add it to your hand, or if you've added a beast warrior, you can add a copy of Meat Recipe from either deck or grave to hand. Not too shabby. Bit of a shame the opponent has the final say, but if all goes well in this deck, you're tributing their monsters for fucking Hungry Burger, so I suppose that's fair. Plus, you can effectively search whichever ritual spell you'd like by revealing 2 monsters of the same type, but with different names. Fish Recipe can search out the Meat Recipe if you summon the level 5 Nouvelle specifically, I believe it is. So that is worth noting here. And Meat changes all monsters to attack position if you summon specifically the level 2. I think. Maybe the exact monsters are wrong here, but there's specific monsters that, when ritual summon with these spells, get certain effects. All in all, it seems pretty solid. It deck thins, and it can help you to play less copies of the ritual spells to break up on by making them recoverable from the grave. It's just a shame that it's generic anime girl number 812 when Hungry Burger is meant to be prepped by this fucking monstrosity, okay? Anime girl is not lore accurate, Konami. Get it together for the crab turtle support. I demand you. Get it together. Okay? Get it together just like viewers of this video can get themselves 15% off the LIFD magnetic display. A fantastic and safe way and cool way and certifiably Yugioh strats way to display your favorite cards as well as support this channel, all in one purchase. Display anything you'd like from favorite cards to a folded up copy of the write-up notice your job gave you because whoops, how did I miss 18 days of work over the course of 3 months while only working 3 nights a week? I have no idea. Silly me, Lee. Silly me. Or display whatever you want, I don't care. Just do so using the promo code YGOStrats15 to save yourself 15% off or by clicking the link in the description. Thanks as always to LIFD for the support, and thanks to you for watching. That'll wrap it up for today's new card report. Maybe there'll be another one this week too. It seems to be the season of new cards this week. Either way, you can stay tuned for the regular update this Friday and everything else I do on this channel, including sometimes a gun and sometimes not a gun, because the gun gets so much engagement in the form of comments. It is either the best or absolute worst thing about this channel, and that's funny to me. Either way, subscribe to the strats if you'd be so kind, and doing so will get you not only the impressed look from your smoking Italian wife, my god, it will also make you the truest of duelists. That's it. Goodbye. Goodbye. I'm going to go eat ravioli. It's probably gonna be a dick to French people, whatever.